Hey there guys, alright, today we are back with Epic History TV's American Presidents, Part Dos. So yeah, let's go ahead and, oh, I want to say, I do legitimately believe that in the next couple decades or something, when the younger generation becomes, the historians and whatnot, that I think these listings are going to change a lot. Especially Andrew Jackson's ranking. I think he's going to get put down. I don't think he's going to be in the top 25. I personally wouldn't even put him in the top 30. So yeah, that's... I do think... I think these listings would change a lot. Yeah. Before we dive into the video though, make sure you go check out the links in my description box or in my pinned comment in the comment section. I have the link to my Twitch channel there. I stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 6 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time to 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time. Go ahead, give me a follow. Would love to have you hang out and chat with us. The other link is my gaming channel link, where I am just uploading old stream VODs too. Go ahead and give that channel a subscription, and plenty of content there, hours upon hours. Now, that's out of the way, go ahead and dive right in. America's President, Part 2.
Welcome to Part 2 of Epic History TV's guide to the first 44 presidents of the United States. We pick up with the 23rd president, Benjamin Harrison.
You know what? He didn't really, I don't think he really did much, so I think placing it at 34th is okay. I mean, I don't...
The grandson of 9th President William Henry Harrison.
Oh!
His presidency saw federal peacetime spending pass $1 billion for the first time. He also passed laws to ensure fairer competition in business.
Okay, so it sounds like he didn't really do anything too negative. I mean, I feel like eventually reaching $1 billion spending gonna happen eventually. It was just like he just ended up being the president that gets stuck with it. An antitrust act, that's something that was needed. I would maybe, you know, with my listings of, you know, Jackson being fairly low and stuff, I think he might get bumped up a couple places perhaps on my listing. It just depends really on how... yeah, his listing, he seems like a very middle of the road. Based on the information here, nothing much happened. The status quo and whatnot.
Grover Cleveland. His second term was overshadowed by economic depression. The president
still gets
offered
placed at 20th?
little federal assistance and sent in troops to break a strike by the American Railway Union.
Why is he 20? None of that makes me feel like that justifies his 20th place.
William McKinley raised import tariffs to unprecedented heights to protect U.S. industry and waged war against Spain over Cuban independence.
You know, I can understand the 20th.
As a result, America gained the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. Shortly into his second term, he was assassinated by a Polish-American anarchist, Leo Czolgosz. Theodore Roosevelt, at 42.
Second place. Okay, and then Abraham Lincoln wasn't first, was he? Trying to remember. I don't think they put him at first. So I think they're placing FDR at first then here. Teddy Roosevelt at second. You know what? Teddy today obviously would be a bit problematic as a personality, perhaps. However, he was still extremely effective. And So one of the things about Teddy is that I do believe he might have been. I remember reading that he was perhaps a bit racist, which is not a good thing, of course. Even though most U.S. presidents have been racist, but Teddy was a believer in, at the very least, he believed in equal access, right? Even though I guess he viewed people of color differently, he wanted them still to have equal ability as white Americans do, if that makes sense. I remember reading that somewhere. I think that's what his views were. So a bit of a contradiction in his personality, where he's possibly racist, but then also believed in, I guess equality. So a little contradictory, but he was effective in what he wanted to get done. His trust busting and whatnot was beneficial, and of course his national parks and whatnot, amazing.
The youngest ever president. As vigorous and energetic in office as he was in life, he broke up business monopolies, asserted U.S. power abroad, ensured completion of the Panama Canal, passed laws to protect national forests and parks, and won a Nobel Peace Prize for brokering a truce between Russia and Japan. William Howard Taft, a distinguished judge,
24th, okay,
but not a natural politician. He achieved many reforms, but alienated progressive Republicans, including his former friend and ally, Theodore Roosevelt, who went off to form the Bull Moose Party. The Republican split handed the 1912 election to the Democrats.
Yeah.
Taft later became Chief Justice of the United States.
Oh, shit. Look at you, Taft. Taft just looks like a nice guy. That smile and his mustache, he just looks like a nice guy.
Woodrow Wilson.
Fuck you, Wilson. No. Fuck this guy. Racist piece of shit.
Former professor of political science. And
no, fuck Wilson. This is a Wilson, Reagan, and Andrew Jackson and Thomas Jefferson slander channel. Fuck those four presidents.
First Southern president since the Civil War. He passed.
New Jersey counts as Southern? What?
Passed progressive reforms at home, and after numerous German provocations, led America into World War I.
Awful president. Absolutely terrible.
His vision for a new world order, with America playing a full part as a member of the new League of Nations, was blocked by a Republican Senate. Warren G. Harding. He sought to roll back Wilson's
he didn't really do fucking anything.
Wartime measures, but following his sudden death from natural causes, revelations emerged of extramarital affairs and cabinet corruption that destroyed his reputation.
I'll agree with
Calvin
that 41st.
Coolidge, the son of a village storekeeper, moral conservative, and man of famously few words. He also believed in minimal federal intervention, and
29th I think is fair for Coolidge.
Is still held up as a role model by fans of small government. Herbert Hoover, raised a Quaker.
Hoover I think got gypped in his presidency. I don't really think he was that bad of a president. I mean, he just got his presidencies during the start of the Depression. He couldn't fucking do anything. But I guess he got blamed for it.
He was a successful engineer, humanitarian, and Secretary of Commerce. But his presidency was overshadowed by the Great Depression. Attempts to revive the economy included spending on major public works, but to little effect. Franklin D. Roosevelt,
Number 1 is
fifth cousin of Theodore Roosevelt, diagnosed with polio, aged 39. His package of economic measures helped lift America out of the Great Depression.
FDR, it's honestly really hard to say, in my opinion, because there are definitely arguments to be made as to whether or not the New Deal really did anything, or if it was purely World War II and increased American production on just selling guns to foreign nations. Because if you really look at it, we didn't really get out of the Great Depression until about 39, really. And what happens in 1939, September 1st? Things are heating up. So, you know, yeah. But he was definitely effective as a president, right? I don't know if I would, I don't know who I would make first place here. It's honestly hard. It's really hard. I think FDR honestly is perhaps the best choice, I guess, to be first place. Because the amount of stuff he got done, right? And a lot of the stuff that he passed is still around today. And I'm of the mindset that, like, Social Security, I think, is still a good thing, even though there have been some pushbacks to it. But I think that will level out, and Social Security will go back to working as it should in a generation or two. I think mainly once the baby boomers start dying off, I think things will start leveling out again, and Social Security will start paying out as it should be, right? There's just so many fucking baby boomers to take care of that, you know, Social Security is straining, but I think once they're gone, they'll lighten up.
While also improving federal treatment of Native Americans. Winning an unprecedented 4 elections, he led America to the verge of victory in World War II, dying in office just 3 weeks before Germany's surrender. Harry S. Truman. Seeking a swift end to the
9th place, you know what? I agree that I like Truman. Truman, I think he's also in the vein of, sadly, you know, I think he's kind of in the vein of Teddy, in that he believes in equal rights, for all Americans. Everyone should have access, like, everyone should be capable, you know, there shouldn't be restrictions on people just based upon their skin color, right? Everyone should have the same access. However, he is still on the side of, I guess, slightly racist. I can't remember where I read this. I just remember seeing this somewhere. So, like, it could be wrong, but, like, yeah, I don't know what. I definitely remember reading something about Truman and Roosevelt being a bit like that, which sucks, but at least they were willing to be like, yo, equal rights, though, which is, you know, that's a fucking definite yes.
To the Pacific War, he authorized the dropping of 2 atomic bombs on Japan. At home, he passed progressive welfare and employment reform, and prioritized civil rights. Abroad, he provided international leadership as the West entered a Cold War with the Soviet Union. Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Where are they placing him?
Supreme Allied
10th? You know what? I think that's a fair placement for Eisenhower.
Commander in Europe in World War II.
I also like Eisenhower.
He was approached by both parties to run for president. He was the first to be limited to 2 terms by a new constitutional amendment.
I like Ike. That's true. That's honestly, I think that he also has the best slogan out of any presidential candidate. I like Ike. Sleek, simple, very nice.
To contain the Soviet Union and de-escalate the Cold War, and oversaw a period of great American prosperity that included the construction of the U.S. interstate highway system.
Which also is to be used does have military usage.
John F. Kennedy, the first Catholic president, and
they placing him 11th? Ooh, that's definitely, I feel like, maybe an older generational thing. I don't think Because he didn't do fucking much. Like, yeah, I think he began the space program. He was tough on the, he was a good politician. However, I don't necessarily, I would honestly, for me, I think he might barely break top 20 because he didn't, 2 years.
At 43, the youngest elected to office, he sought to instill America with renewed idealism, made some progress over civil rights in the South, and narrowly avoided nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, by Lee Harvey Oswald. Lyndon B. Johnson. He enacted a wide-ranging package.
See, here's the thing. Now, LBJ is definitely controversial. He's a bit of a loudmouth, right? He was insulting to people, right? There are so many statements on what he would say to people. However, I think he's better. I would put him above JFK purely based on the fact because many people I've seen believe that JFK would not have been able to get the Equal Rights Act passed, or at the very least, it would not have passed as in 1964 as soon as it did. LBJ, it is, people say him as president is why it passed, was able to get through in 1964. Because he was, I guess, more politically connected, right? And he's also from the South, and this is around the time of the party, like the party switch has roughly happened around then. It's still kind of mingling and working towards switching. Really, I'd say around Nixon / past. Once Nixon's gone, really, I think that's when the party switch really happened. I think you definitely see the party switch under Reagan, where, you know, more religious conservatives kind of are now more on the Republican side instead of, you know, the Dixie Democrats, I think is what they were called. But LBJ, you know, he's from Texas. He's a Democrat, so he's able to be on the side of the Democrats, who are now mainly Northerners. And now he's also, but then he's got that Southern route, so he's able to appeal to the Southern conservatives, right? Boom.
Package of reforms to address racial injustice and poverty. But frustration at the speed of progress was reflected by race riots in America's cities. Overseas, he continued to escalate.
You know what? With the escalation of the Vietnam War, maybe not swapping him with JFK. It's hard to say there.
U.S. involvement in Vietnam.
Vietnam, I think, definitely lowers him in my personal rating.
Richard Nixon withdrew U.S. troops from Vietnam and reduced tension with the Soviet Union and China.
You know what? If he had avoided that controversy, he would be a highly ranked president. He would be highly ranked. I think a lot of people even agree with that. He was a well-liked president up until he fucked everything up and Watergated.
He became the first president to resign his office to avoid impeachment for his role in the Watergate scandal. Gerald Ford granted Nixon a presidential pardon, then struggled with inflation and economic recession at home, while furthering détente with the Soviet Union.
He didn't really do much. I would then also not even put him in the top 30.
Jimmy Carter. He struggled with an energy supply crisis.
Yeah, Carter got gypped. As I think I've said this before, Carter is perhaps the best man to have ever been president. However, he's not a good president, right? I think, as a person, I think Jimmy Carter is perhaps the best person to hold the office, right? So if we were personally looking at it from their qualities as a human being, Carter would probably be my first place choice, first place ranking out of our president, for his qualities as a human being. However, his ability as a president, no. and
inflation,
sucks.
and unemployment.
Like, Jimmy Carter is the reason why you honestly don't vote for a good person anymore in office, right? Politicians aren't good people. Like, you know, Jimmy Carter is an example of why you don't want to vote a good guy into office, which sucks.
Raised a Baptist, he championed human rights abroad, brokered peace between Egypt and Israel, and negotiated a treaty giving control of the Panama Canal to Panama. But his popularity was greatly damaged by the Iran hostage crisis.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He still negotiated their release. The timing of their release, I think, was set by Carter.
Ronald Reagan, former Hollywood actor, and at 69,
fuck Reagan.
the
Fuck him.
oldest elected president. His tax cuts and free market
Reaganomics, dumbest fucking shit. Doesn't work.
reforms were
We know it
credited
doesn't
with
work.
revitalizing the U.S. economy.
Rich people just hold on to their fucking money. No. Fuck Reaganomics.
He launched
Fuck
America's war on drugs.
The war on drugs. Another fucking retard. 2021, we don't say that anymore. Fucking dumbest, stupidest thing. War on drugs. Fucking idiotic.
Began an arms race with the Soviet Union, which he described as the evil empire,
In arms, yeah. Fuck Reagan.
and supported anti-communist insurgencies around the world.
This one's for you, Reagan. Fuck you.
George Bush, a decorated World War II Navy.
This one I am conflicted on with my feelings. I would probably, yeah, put him top 30, not top 20.
pilot, later director of the CIA. He oversaw America's response to the collapse of the Soviet Union and sent American troops to liberate Kuwait during the First Gulf War.
But Operation Desert Storm, well handled. That was well handled. Like, that was what? A 2-month campaign? Absolutely destroyed the Iraqi military.
Bill Clinton. His presidency
Oh, he's gotta be
saw
top
a
10.
period of peace
13. 13 for Bill? I think I might put him in top 10.
and prosperity, low unemployment, and falling crime.
Like, Bill, like, yeah, he's a bit of a, I guess, weird guy, and he had his scandals, but that scandal wasn't like Watergate. It was just him having an affair. That happens all the fucking time, with fucking people. I would put him top 10.
He became the
And I think you could even argue he's a top 5. I think you could make a solid argument, place him in the top 5.
second president to be impeached following the Monica Lewinsky scandal,
Which, completely stupid. That's not a fucking scandal.
but was found not guilty by the Senate. George W. Bush, son of George Bush.
39th.
His presidency
You know what? Yeah.
was
Yeah.
shaped by the 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York and Washington. America's subsequent war on terror led the U.S. to become embroiled in long, costly operations in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Where are
Barack
they
Obama,
ranking him?
the first African American
Oh, okay. This is hard to say. I don't think we can give... I think we can start placing Bush on these rankings, right? I think we're far enough past his presidency where we can start properly ranking HW. However, 2021, I don't think we have had enough time to really see the long-term effects of Obama's presidency. And of course, a side effect of Obama's presidency has been the rise of populism, exacerbated by Trump. So, yeah, and And I think Obama blames himself also for the rise of populism, which sucks. I don't want to blame a person for a rise in something like populism, but I think that's what it's termed, populism. Anyways, I don't think we're far enough past yet to really give him a proper ranking. I could see arguments being made for top 20. However, I think we'll have to see. Maybe by 2028, I think we'll have enough time has passed to where we could really give it a proper ranking. I mean, obviously the allowed gay marriage, really started the process for legalization of marijuana. No, that's still not federal. But one of his early campaign promises back in 07, 08 was to end the war. He didn't fucking do that, and he led drone strikes on other nations. In fact, he increased the amount of American intervention instead of decreasing it like he had promised. However, his handling, I think, of the recession, I think he did a good job there.
President, he passed an economic stimulus package to soften the impact of the 2008 financial crash, and an Affordable Care Act to improve access,
and as someone that is on Obamacare, I like it,
to medical insurance. American forces continue to have a presence in Afghanistan and Iraq, where they help to tackle the new threat of ISIS. Now, all 44 U.S. presidents, according to their ranking in the Siena Research Institute survey of 2010. Andrew Johnson,
okay.
James Buchanan, Warren G. Harding, Franklin Pierce, George W. Bush, Millard Fillmore, John Tyler.
And I think as someone pointed out in the comment section, I think John Tyler was the one that betrayed the United States and went to the Confederates. That should instantly put him at 43rd. Fucking
Herbert
piece of
Hoover,
shit.
William Henry Harrison, Benjamin Harrison.
Huh. The relatives are ranked
Zachary
close
Taylor.
together. That's funny.
Jimmy Carter, Rutherford.
In an ideal world, Jimmy Carter would be placed #1. He would be able to do what he wanted to do as humanitarian, but
B. Hayes, Richard Nixon, Calvin Coolidge.
and it's also really showing of how fucked up politics is. Carter is ranked lower than Nixon.
Gerald Ford, James A. Garfield, Ulysses S. Grant, Chester Arthur, William Howard Taft.
We're gonna go ahead and
Martin
just to get the full list.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt.
So I think here I would actually agree with the top 4. As I've said before, I do have my issues with Washington as being hypocritical because of, fighting for an independent nation that says it in the Constitution. Government for the people, by the people, blah, blah, blah. Equality, blah, blah, blah. But he owned slaves himself. So it's like very hard to really justify him. But he was definitely the kind of person that was needed to be the first president. So yeah, that was Epic History TV's American Presidents Part Dose. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.